There you go.
It's 10 o'clock.
Recording in progress.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to welcome you to the Tuesday, December 5th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is opening of proposals. Good morning, Mr. Metters.
Good morning, Sky Metters, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. What we have are receiving proposals for construction engineering services for the Cleveland Beach roundabout. That is to be bid in February of next year, sorry. First, we have a proposal from Abbenmarsh Consulting, South Bend. We have a letter from DLZ, South Bend, Lawson Fisher Associates, South Bend, and finally, the Lockmiller Group of South Bend, Indiana. Is there anyone else wishing to submit a proposal that has not already done so? Seeing none, we request that you receive these bids and turn them over to Public Works for review and recommendation. These are qualifications. There's no price whatsoever. Been doing this a while.
If there are no questions, do we have a motion to accept the proposals from the firms that Sky read off?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
You'll report back to us.
Sky Metters.
Yeah, you'll report back to us, right?
Yeah, we will review them and make a recommendation.
Thank you.
Next, accounts payable for the week of November 27th, when we didn't have a meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the November 27th accounts payable?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is this week's accounts payable docket. Do we have a similar motion to approve this week's accounts
moved.
payable?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of order establishing precincts. Good morning, Mr. Carlson.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Carlson, GIS Manager for Infrastructure Planning and Growth, with offices on the 7th and 11th floor. Before you today for your approval is the order of precincts for 2024. What this is involving is precinct boundary changes due to the annexations that have happened in the past year. There happened to have been 11 annexations that were passed by South Bend and Mishawaka combined, and it affected 16 precincts, just their boundaries conforming to the new jurisdictional boundaries from each annexation.
It doesn't reduce or increase the number of precincts, just for
Nope,
clarification?
it doesn't. Yeah, it's just incorporating, changing just some of the boundaries that they adhere to the jurisdictional boundary that they're touching.
There's a lot of paperwork involved in that.
Yes, yes, there is.
Did any more votes come into the second district at all for me?
No, unfortunately, nothing's changed for the district boundaries. Just
All right.
the, just
All
the
right, that's
precincts
all I have.
themselves.
The precincts.
But
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the order establishing precincts?
Motion to approve.
second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have a Township Assistance Appeal hearing for Portage Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Phil Garrett, Office of 420 Lincoln Way West, counsel for this specific matter for the Board of Commissioners. This is an appeal from the denial of township benefits by Portage Township trustee for Gerald Williams. Statutorily, Indiana law requires the Board of Commissioners to hear the appeal within 10 days, which we are within that time period. From a process standpoint, the township trustee will present its case and its reason for its denial of Mr. Williams' appeal, and then, his request for benefits, and then Mr. Williams has a chance to present its case. The commissioners are free to ask questions of either the township trustee or Mr. Williams. I see representatives of the township here. Mr. Williams, is there Mr. Williams here today? Not seeing Mr. Williams. He's required to be here for his appeal to go forward. My suggestion to the Board of Commissioners would be, however, that the township still presents its case so that we can establish a record, and then the Board of Commissioners can make a motion on whether to accept or deny the appeal.
Well, let's proceed along those lines.
Mr. Critchlow?
Mr. Critchlow.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that too. Mr. Critchlow.
Hey, Commissioners. So as Mr. Garrett said,
Just for the record.
Jason
your name.
Critchlow, 221 Marquette Avenue, South Bend.
Thank you.
So you may have received the documents that I forwarded to your office already ahead of time, but basically, so Mr. Williams applied for rental assistance in October of this year. His income for the previous 30 days was $2,400, which put him over the income threshold for a household of one, which is $1,500. However, his pay stubs included roughly $1,800 in payroll deductions. Payroll deductions that are non-mandatory do not count, would not be an exclusion from the income requirement. So essentially, he's still outside of the income requirement. However, at our office, we'll hear the person out, hear what their story is, maybe they have a reason. He told the caseworker in his interview that it was related to a bankruptcy filing for creditors and legal fees. Again, he still could have been denied based on the income requirement. However, the caseworker chose to waive those income guidelines, and they approved his request for assistance. But they did tell Mr. Williams that he was over income. So he applied for assistance again in November of this year. That is the reason we're here today, because that is the assistance application that was denied. His circumstances were the same as the previous month. However, this time the case was referred to the Chief Deputy Trustee, who's here with me today. She spoke with the employer's Human Resources Department. Because during the time of his interview, I would remind you, he said that his payroll deductions were due to creditors and legal fees related to a bankruptcy filing. However, upon investigation, we were told that these were payroll deductions as a result of a cash advance on his check that was requested by Mr. Williams. He was confronted with this information. He told the staff that these deductions were actually for equipment that he needed to rent at home for his employer. His employer denied that this was not actually accurate. Therefore, we actually issued him a denial for his rental assistance in November due to being over income. We also issued him a 60-day denial for applying for aid under false pretenses. He was told that, strictly speaking, the township could request a return of the monies that were given to him in the previous month or refer to the case to the county prosecutor. We weren't doing either of those things. We were just denying his most recent application and then denying him for another 60 days for false informing our office. So we ask that you uphold the determination of our office based on those facts.
I got a quick, is there any penalty for people who give misinformation and are obstinate and?
It's a great question, Commissioner. If they lie to the office, we provide false information, forge documents, or are violent or harassing to staff, the only recourse we have is to issue a denial for 60 days maximum per law. Then after 60 days, they'd be allowed to apply again.
Okay, but if someone would do that and they have this type of checkered past, you still have to go through all of the process again?
They are always allowed to apply.
Okay.
And each case has to be reviewed based on the merits of that application.
Okay, and if that's the case, if they're blatantly doing all this stuff, is there any recourse for all the time and effort that your staff has to put in to looking into this, or it's just?
There is not.
It is what it is?
It is what it is, yep, that's it. Like I said, it can be referred to the county prosecutor, which we have done on occasion for really egregious cases. But that's really our only
So
recourse.
there's no civil, like somebody was blatantly out on the ledge like that, there's nothing civilly we could throw at them?
I couldn't, our township council could file a civil action against the individual.
Okay, we'll have to talk to Mr. Fig about that.
What's, well, we have township council, but it's one of those is, I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
Right. Okay. I have no further questions at this time.
If not, do we have a motion affirming the denial of benefits? Was there anything else to add? I'm sorry.
No, that would be appropriate, a motion to affirm the denial of benefits.
I suggested that we have a motion affirming trustee Critchlow's denial of benefits in this case.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the settlement and agreement and release. Somebody, I thought Pete was going to speak on that.
I can speak on it. It was a employment matter, very small settlement. It's a case that we would likely win at trial. However, the cost of trial was far more than it was worth, and doing a small settlement here made sense, and we would ask for your approval.
Given the small amount, I will, when I vote, I will agree to that, but I sure don't want to see the county become an ATM here for disgruntled people who just file a complaint and then file suit. So,
And the amount is?
$2,500.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'll move for approval.
motion has been made to approve that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to Human Resources. Approval of the agreement for MetLife Consumer Services and SJC MetLife and Aura Identity and Fraud Protection. Boy, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, identity and fraud protection. So in front of you is the contract with MetLife for identity and fraud protection that we're going to start offering in January of 2024. And the other one is the stop-loss renewal that we have specifically for our transplants. And Troy's here if you have any questions that I can't answer.
And technically, I should have asked you to state your name
Courtney
and position
Mullins.
for the record.
Courtney Mullins, Finance and HR Director, offices on the 7th floor.
Thank you. Troy?
Good morning, Commissioners. Troy Scott with Gallagher Insurance, 1251 North Eddy Street. As Courtney said on the agenda today, we do have the renewal for our transplant policy. We've had this policy, this is our 5th year. I think we're just finishing up our 3rd transplant. It's actually proved as a nice cost containment measure to the overall spend on the health plan by able to carve these transplants out. Transplants, as you guys know, are very expensive and long process. They average over $700,000 per occurrence. Transplants have gone up about 4% in occurrence over the last 6 years. So this plan has really, paid for itself. We've had a reduction in our stop-loss insurance. The underwriters recognize the importance of this carve-out policy and given us the appropriate reduction in our stop-loss premiums. So I would ask today that we renew the policy for the 2024 year. Any questions?
Given that we've had some claims in the past that have caused the policy to kick in,
Yes. Yes.
looking forward, are we going to, you indicated that the cost had actually decreased?
Well, the renewal's been flat for the last 4 years. This year, we've seen a little bit of an increase. about 8% increase this year, which, that's, we've seen that, in all lines, actually. So that wasn't a surprise, but, this also benefits the employees as well with all the care they get once they get into this network, once they get into the program. And it actually has a $5,000 indemnity cash offering that goes directly to the employee after the transplant, and also it pays up to $15,000 in travel expenses. So that's a nice benefit for the employees on top of everything else they get with the program. So it's just not, a policy that carves it out. There's a lot of meat behind it.
Yeah, I misunderstood. I thought you said there was a decrease, but
Well,
8% doesn't seem to
yeah.
be unreasonable, given the rate of inflation that we've experienced.
Correct.
Any questions?
Negative.
If not, do we have a motion to approve the agreement with MetLife Consumer Services for identity and fraud everything, identity and fraud protection?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we need a separate
A
motion?
separate one.
Separate
I'm
motion for
sorry,
the- also the
yes. We need a
transplant
separate
renewal?
one for the transplant, stop-loss group renewal. Do we have a motion to approve the stop-loss group renewal policy?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
It's this one, there's two actually.
I know, but who said the,
Derek
he
made the
said
motion.
second. He didn't say the motion, he just said second.
I did not. I said so moved.
I thought you said second.
I said so moved.
I couldn't hear
Now
you.
you can say
And
second.
I'll say second, because I
Thank
just
you.
thought you said second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to infrastructure planning and growth. First item is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next,
Here he comes.
he's back. Approval of contract R-37496 for the Douglas Road and Ironwood travel lanes and bridge replacement, change order number 18.
What this, Sky Matters again, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. What this item is the next change order for Douglas Road. It is no cost to the county. There was some additional widening that the state wanted to do on State Road 23 that was already part of the project. I believe it's for, I can't remember the exact amount, $6,000, but NDOT will be paying all of that. And it does also change the some of the milestone dates to because of that work, so that there aren't any penalties. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Since there were no cost to us, and it's just really a technical correction.
Yes.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve change order number 18 to the Douglas and Ironwood Road project?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
You're not going to stand up?
It's an all-star day here.
Yeah, that's better. Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Krasinski, County Surveyor Office on the 7th floor of this building. Before you is the amendment to the county policy that was submitted in July for vendors. As Mr. Mish is aware of, the county surveyor is, by state statute, required to do 5% of section corner work a year. There's no cost for this professional service with Aben Marsh. The fee is $60,000. The funds for this comes out of the surveyor's section corner fund, which is generated by fees collected by the recorder's office, so it's no cost to the general fund. I'm just asking the commissioner's approval for this amendment.
I'd just like to thank the surveyor for a great job on this, as you also do on the drainage boards, a lot of people don't know what the survey does, but there couldn't be a better person representing St. Joe County.
Thank you very much, but I can't take all the credit. Sky Meters and John Carlson sitting back here, we coordinate this amongst ourselves. I
But
gotta
you're
give
the
them some
leader and the
credit, too.
catalyst of the whole thing, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You are working well together.
Thank you, Carl.
Did you say the amount it was going to be then?
Pardon me, Commissioner?
Yes, she,
It's,
60,000.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it comes out of a section
It said
corner fund.
60,000 here, so,
Yep.
yeah.
there's no fee to the general fund is what
make a motion to approve?
was said.
Right. Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a project completion affidavit for RNS 92201-D. It's
Sky
part of the
Meadows.
Community Crossings Matching Grant.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
I was-
Sky Meadows Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. This item is just more or less the closeout document required for our community crossings project that we did back in 22. It has been closed out, and the next item is actually the final change order for the project to help close everything out. But we have reviewed this and request your approval.
I would note that a little over 11 miles were completed.
Yeah, for that specific
For that
project. Yeah, there was also 3 other projects bid in that year for
this
paving.
one.
Yeah.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, on the same project, we do have a change order number 2 request.
Yes, what this was is the final change order for the project, to more or less zero everything out, and to just make sure that everything was in order. More or less, the project, this change order is for a decrease of $20,000 roughly, because there wasn't any overruns. It underrun by 20 grand, and we used that 20 grand to pave some for another project. So it was good that it was under and within 0.5% of the original contract amount. Happy to answer any questions and recommend your approval.
I would just note that we don't ordinarily see decreases.
No.
So that's a
Yeah.
nice, came in on time and under budget.
Yep, and we got plenty of places we can use it, so,
Always have needs.
yep.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the final change order number 2?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Thanks, Sky.
Did you want to read the agenda item, or I'm just happy to go
I
ahead?
thought you were going to say something first, but I will read the agenda
Perfect.
item.
Thank you.
Approval of termination and release of easement.
Good morning, Bill Shalio, Economic Development Director, offices on 7th and 11th floors, part of the Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. Before you, this first item is a termination and release of easement for Smith Ready Mix Incorporated at 31480 Edison Road in New Carlisle. In June of 2019, the owners of Smith Ready Mix granted both a donation of 10 foot of right-of-way along Edison Road so that we could improve Edison Road at some point. Also donated an 80-foot easement along the southern property line. That 80-foot easement could have been used for a rail corridor and utility corridor along the southern part of their property. In working with some other adjacent property owners, there was a location control route survey that was approved in 2019 as part of the Smith Ready Mix easement. What we'd like to do, at your last meeting, you released that location control route survey documentation. What we need to do here is terminate and release this easement request. We're not going to be doing a rail corridor in this area, so we're just wanting to return the property back to Smith Ready Mix. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
As long as we're certain we don't need it,
Yep.
there's no reason not to return it to the property owner. Do we have a motion to approve the termination and release of easement?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Don't go away.
I won't.
Approval of the First Amendment to the bond purchase agreement.
Yeah, so late last year, there was the original bond purchase agreement documentation that was approved December 6, 2022, stated that the bond for the Honeysuckle project would be sold at the beginning part of the year. What the company would like to do is do this First Amendment, that the bond wouldn't be sold any later than March 29, 2024. The project is ready to go live, but there's some timing issues that the bond would be better sold if it had some flexibility in when its bond sale happens. So we'd like your approval to approve this amendment. If there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
There's no negative impact upon the county.
Nope.
Any questions?
Sounds nice, thank you.
Thank you.
If not, do we have a motion to approve the First Amendment to the bond purchase agreement for Honeysuckle?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye. Next, I was thinking of two things at once. Next, from the clerk, approval of the Help American Vote College program.
Good morning. Tricia Carrico, Chief Deputy of Elections, office in the clerk's office in the basement. This is an opportunity to apply for Help America Vote College program for vote workers. It is an opportunity to apply because the application process helps create a plan for outreach to college students, which is extremely important. The award range is anywhere from $45,000 to $100,000, and it's a 2-year grant. We will be asking for $55,000 for specific program to engage college students as vote center workers. We also want to recognize the SEATS program that we are participating in, Amy and myself, that have connected us to the Indiana Election Commission, who is sponsoring the grant, and without SEATS, we wouldn't even have the opportunity to apply for this. The deadline for this application is December 18th, and they have made no indication of when the award would be, the date of if it would be awarded.
And this will be open to any college student, or is it targeted to specific colleges?
No, just colleges in general. We will definitely be making contacts to all the colleges in the local area so that we can recruit more vote center workers. Things are very preliminary, but we're trying to make it where it would be 2 people, and it would be, bipartisan, so that they can reach out to these colleges so that we can recruit more and that they could become vote center workers and just help in the overall process. Because that is one area that we do not seem to have a lot of interaction with, which is college students. So this would give us the opportunity to have point people to be able to reach out to these colleges.
Well, a couple of things. I think it's good that we're reaching out to college students as well. They're an underrepresented group
Yes,
in poll working,
yes,
and it gets them involved.
absolutely.
And second, it does relieve a little bit the turmoil
Sure.
that accompanies getting people to work at the polls.
Yeah, they still have to be in compliance with the parties, but we would be able to refer these individuals to the parties, but we would definitely be vetting them and have more contact so that we have a broader group to choose from, I should say.
So it will be at colleges then?
This is strictly for colleges,
That's what I
yes.
thought, but it'd be at
Voter
some
outreach.
colleges That they could go voting then at the colleges?
No, we're trying to get workers from the colleges, like students to help us and participate in the election process itself, whether it's as a vote center worker or just whatever we can get them to do.
Because I just said, Help America Vote College program, sir. So I thought, oh, well, we've got to go to colleges and vote? I just know if that was on here too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Dieter, any questions?
No.
If not, do we have a motion to approve the submission for the Help American Vote College Program grant?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tricia. Moving on to the assessor, the Engage program presentation.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm excited to be here today. Michael Caslon, St. Joseph County Assessor with offices located on the third floor of this building. Before we get into the Engage program and what it provides to the citizens in St. Joseph County, I wanted to talk about a little bit about where this came from. And so over the last 13-plus years, I've received multiple complaints about the lack of ease when it came to accessing data pertaining to their property, along with transparency from the assessor's office. So we wanted to address that in a way that provided real-time data to the taxpayers and then opening up access to the other departments, making it easy for all citizens to understand what's going on in the assessment process and any changes through legislation. So the way the Engage program works, if you'll see on the screen today, is the front page of the Engage program. If you'll scroll down to the bottom page, it's just an introductory to the process, a pretty picture of me. Welcome to the St. Joseph County Assessor Citizen Engagement site. We are proud to offer this service at no cost to our constituents. The information accessible through the site is being made available to enhance the access of assessment data and to provide links to other relevant sites and a summary of the information as follows: property location, ownership, owner history, sales information, assessed values and value history, land information, improvement information, property record cards, sketches, photos, and additional information which we'll go through. So we'll kind of go through a little tutorial how this works. You'll scroll up. We're going to use one of my old address. So you just type in your address, 3802 Fern Hill Drive. And this will pull up your property record card with the backlay of the neighborhood. And so the taxpayer would easily be able to reach any one of these other parcels if they wanted to, and it would pull up those parcels, and they can look at the information there as well. But if you go up to your property yourself, and let's say you wanted to see what the transfer history was, what the sales were on these properties. So you could see the transfer dates at the ease of the tip of your fingers. If you wanted to know the valuation over the years, you could see what the property valuation was of the property. And this goes for all properties in St. Joe County. So you could essentially do your own comparables. If you wanted to look at the sales information, you could. And that would tell you the dates that it sold and what the prices were that it sold for. If you wanted to look at your taxes, it would give you a link to the St. Joseph County Treasurer's Office. You click on that link, and then you can view your tax bill. And if you click on the view the tax bill portion of it, it automatically pulls up your tax bill for you. And then if you scroll down, it'll tell you everything about the tax bill, including what your homestead exemptions are and deductions. It's all in one spot rather than having to go to different areas of the county website to locate this. One of the things that we heard often was I'd get into one site and then it'd lock me out and then I'd have to get back in. So the Engage program really allows the taxpayer to access all of the county departments in one easy step. If you will back out of that. So let's say you wanted to file an appeal. So we'll go to the forms portion of it, and if you hit the appeal form, the great thing about this is it automatically uploads all the information onto the appeal form for the taxpayer so that they don't have to do it. This was confusing in the past, so all that information is put in forms, so now all they have to do is sign it, put in their phone number, and tell us why they're filing an appeal. This will be available to them electronically, so they can file electronically. They'll get a digital signature back from me, and it's recorded through the electronic process. This not only saves time for the taxpayer, but it saves time for my staff, so they don't have to manually enter this. We can upload it automatically from our CAMA system. So if you back out of this, and let's say you wanted to file the sales disclosure form as well, it also does that and uploads it automatically for the taxpayer as well. The great thing about this is this can be used in other departments as well, to include the auditor's office and the treasurer's office. And at really a very little cost to purchase the additional module for that, but it opens up time for the staff to focus on other areas because it makes it easier for the taxpayer to be able to use this. So let's say you wanted to navigate the Engage program and you had questions. If you go to the Resource tab up in the top right-hand corner, and let's say you wanted to see what is the current public announcements, you could hit the public announcements, and in this page will tell you, here I have a couple videos, which we'll get to here in a little bit, that talk about their tutorials that show you, how to file an appeal, if you have personal property. And then if you click on the legislation under announcements, it'll tell you all the legislation that impacts the taxpayer that's just came out by the state. This is a living document, so we'll be updating this on a regular basis. So if you'll back out of that, if you wanted to go to, say you have a couple questions. So you go to the I want to tab, and if you wanted to apply for a homeowner's deduction, you click on that, and it will move you right to the auditor's office so that you'll be able to file it there. Same is true for change your mailing address, pay my taxes, a copy of your survey, copy of the deed, foreclosures. It gives you all the links to the appropriate departments, so you'll be able to move forward with that request. And then you can just go through the rest of it. The rest of the information here, cyclical reassessments. This is a living document, so we're still modifying it, and we'll modify it as we get feedback from the taxpayer and the other departments. But here you'll have in the future when the cyclical reassessment is going to occur and what neighborhoods that we will be in, so the taxpayer understands that the assessor will be out in their neighborhoods on those particular dates. On the appeals portion of it, if you hit the appeals, it's again, just the Indiana code tells you about appeals and a link to the indiana.gov to contact the Department of Local Government Finance if you had additional requirements for that. If you go to the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, here we have the current people that are on the board, but in the future, we'll have the board dates in the cases that we'll be hearing, so it'll be open to the public so they can, for the transparency portion, they can see the appeals and how the appeal process works in the future. And then if you wanted to calculate your tax bill, there's a link to the Department of Local Government Finance here where you can go in. If you'll click into the tax calculator portion of this, here it basically brings you to the tax bill estimator. It asks you to select a county. Obviously, you selected a St. Joseph County. And then the selected district would be the last 3 digits of your tax ID number. So we'll just pick Center Township for ease. You add in your assessment, let's say 150,000. You select the property type, in this case would be a homestead, and then you estimate the bill. And this will give you a guesstimate at what your tax bill would be in the future. So this is another great tool that's at the ease of the taxpayer, so those questions can be asked. All these things that we're providing here today allows the taxpayer to do and get the information themselves without having to bog down the offices in a way that they had in the past, and provides transparency in a way they've never seen before. So if you'll back out of that, I want to leave you guys with a couple videos. But before I do that, the great thing about this program is it's real time. In the past, the previous program that we had only updated once a year. This will now update once a month so the taxpayers get to see real-time data as we're entering into the system, which is a service they never had before. So if you will you play the first video?
How long are these videos?
30 seconds.
Awesome, okay.
Wondering how to lower your property taxes? I'm St. Joseph County Assessor Mike Caslon, and here are some tips that could help you lower your next property tax bill. First, review the property record card for your home. Make sure all the physical characteristics are correct, or provide my office with the necessary changes. Your home assessed value should reflect the amount a typical buyer would pay to purchase it. If you disagree with the value, file an appeal with the assessor's office by June 15th.
Yeah, I was going to say nice.
One more.
Questions about filing your business personal property? I'm Shannon Schock, the Personal Property Director for St. Joseph County.
Whoops.
How come yours was longer than hers?
Well, I think she was playing on top of it.
Okay.
Questions about filing your business personal property? I'm Shannon Schock, the Personal Property Director for St. Joseph County. All businesses, organizations, and even farms are required to file returns with our office before May 15th each year. These forms require a taxpayer to claim the value of all assets and declare your exemption should you qualify. If you have any questions or are wondering where to start, please contact the St. Joseph County Assessor's Office.
So as we move into the future, we'll be adding more tutorials as we get feedback from the taxpayer, but I'll open it up to any questions from the commissioners.
I think the transparency is great. And the fact that it's going to update every month.
Well, and it's at no cost to the taxpayers. That's the great part.
Minor point, but you
Great.
know, that is a good point, of course.
Nice job, hon.
All right, thank you.
No, well, dude, like, thank you. This is a lot of information that I know even before I was elected, that they've been trying to implement. So thank you for getting elected and putting this together. It's going to be much easier for people to navigate this stuff and all the things that collectively at St. Joe County we're doing to reach out to the constituent and taxpayer. It's a good thing, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
And good luck at that Tostito Bowl or wherever you're all going.
Yeah,
Okay.
we weren't invited to the Alabama
There's a reason.
Invitational.
There's
so
a reason for that.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you so much, Mike. Thank you.
Roll Tide.
Moving on, there being no old business, we'll move to public comments. Who wishes to speak first?
Good morning, Mike McManus, 51940 Lilac Road. Mr. Baxmeyer, your comment, transparency is great, prompted me to want to come up here right away because I'm tired and disturbed about this board continuing to conduct its business in secret. The latest example is the agenda on November 14th and the meeting on November 14th when you appointed 3 members of the County Redevelopment Authority, a brand new board. What was misleading about the agenda was it says, quote, appointment of commissioner. It didn't say appointments, but you ended up appointing all 3. There were no names listed. You just put, actually it was appointment to RDA. Since it's a new board, most people don't know what that was. I happen to know what it was because I was here on the day when the county created that board. There were no names mentioned. There were no CVs. There were no statements of interest or intent. And so we were left to just guess what was going to happen and show up here. And in 1 minute and 29 seconds, including Mr. Shalial's description of what the redevelopment authority does, which is quite a bit, you nominated 3 people and you voted on 3 people. 1 minute and 29 seconds. 2 of those people don't seem to have any background at all to perform what most of the public doesn't know. I went and looked at the statute. They can seize property, they can levy taxes. There are some very powerful things that this authority can do. One was a personnel recruiter, the other an aestheticist. The third is the mother of a current member of the Redevelopment Commission. Those 2 are supposed to operate independently and synonymously. One is a financial vessel, and the other as somebody more involved with the actual hands-on development of new projects. By having relatives like that, you're going to have inevitable questions of conflict of interest and whether or not there's actual independence between the 2 boards. Just not a wise decision. And again, nobody in the public had a chance to apply, say, I'd like to be on that authority, or comment on it. And finally, you didn't interview a single one of those people. Those names were suggested to you. I don't know, Mr. Shalio gave you
Your
some
3
names.
minutes
I
are
don't
up.
know.
Thank you so much, Mike.
I don't know if he made up the list of names, but you are required by your own resolution to interview them. I don't know if any of you realize that, but on October 4th, at Mr. Dieter's
3 minutes are up.
insistence.
Thank you so much.
You are responsible, Mr. Mish, for making sure that the
Courtesy to everyone
board,
else here to
make
stick
sure
to
that
3
the
minutes.
board follows its own law.
Yeah, it's,
And
your 3 minutes are up, Mike.
CVs weren't presented.
Mike,
Statement.
will you do this again?
Just let me finish. I'm almost done, Mike.
No.
You didn't
I
follow the
apologize to
law.
the public for Mr.
Well, I
McManus here.
apologize to you. I'm paying for you. The public is paying for you, and you didn't do your job. I don't know if you forgot that you passed this resolution, or if you're choosing to disobey your own law. That's not a good thing for us citizens.
Good morning. Cheryl Nix, 17901 Sable Ridge Drive, Clay Township. The resolution that was previously mentioned is R19C 2022, which was passed October 4th of 2022. Mr. Dieter, you presented this resolution that said that any board appointments, you will require applications and interviews. It was passed 3-0 on that date. However, as was just mentioned, on November 14th, 2023, you voted to place 3 people on the Redevelopment Authority for 3-year terms. I don't know of any interviews being conducted, so you either conducted interviews outside public view in violation of open door law, or you violated your own resolution and failed to take applications and conduct interviews. Why this matters? We're about to be placing someone on the library board, a reappointment possibly of Mr. Feldbaum, I hope. However, you've mentioned that you will be conducting interviews. I hope that you do, and I hope they are public. Why do I care about the library board? I certainly don't want St. Joseph County to become the embarrassment that Hamilton County became when they put extremists on their library board who demanded books be removed from the teen section of the library, causing disruption, emptying shelves. They became truly a national embarrassment. We can't afford that. We need to have reasonable people on our library board, so I ask that you make a decision to follow your resolution as proposed, conduct public interviews, or keep it simple, simply reappoint the gentleman who was previously appointed by the commission. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. Thank you for your work. My little bit today kind of concerns the creation of the RDA. As was stated previously, there are 2 of the members with, we don't see qualifications. We don't know that they're qualified to sit on this board. Yet, they are now on December 12th at the RDC meeting. We're looking at a public hearing which is going to lease our county roads for $5 million. I'm not sure. I wasn't aware you could lease your county roads. I mean, remember the fiasco from the toll road when we leased that thing? I hope it's a better outcome than that. But the proceeds are supposed to go into some drainage issues, some sewage issues in the New Carlisle Economic Development area. I think this, honestly, I really expect some representative from economic development or somewhere in St. Joseph County to show up on Pawn Stars and be hawking off pieces of St. Joseph County to get money to pour into this sort of mess that's becoming the GM Samsung site. where these guys need to move on. Thank you.
Good morning. Deborah Durrell, 21677 Naughton Road, South Bend. I'm going to speak on two things, hopefully briefly. First of all, I came today because I heard a rumor that we were going to hear a report on the ethanol spill into the St. Joseph River. And even though I did check the agenda and all the documents thoroughly, I did not see that in there. I still thought that somehow that was going to happen. I'm greatly interested in that, and I think the public in the room and online would be as well. I'm hoping that maybe at the December 12th meeting, some kind of request could be made for that and shared with the public, either by the commissioners or by the citizen that I heard was going to be coming presenting that. Secondly, I am concerned about the road lease program also. I live in German Township, just north of Cleveland Road. I don't claim to be a numbers person, but I do have read the material on that, and the finance and the investments seems to be very complex. And to me, it seems like instead of diversifying, which I understand is a basic investment strategy, I do think that it seems like we're putting all of our eggs in one basket on that. I'm hoping at December 12th, whoever presents that information can give the public a very detailed tutorial about how everybody's going to be paying each other with this process. Thank you.
Anyone else in the room wish to offer a public comment? If not, we'll move to those online, and I believe Steve Francis has his hand up.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Steve Francis, Duday Lake Drive up in Clay Township. And I too want to speak to the RDA, the Redevelopment Authority, when it first came up, and this body has been pretty rushed through without much comment. First, I would like to say that I too was perplexed when the nominations were made on the floor, and there apparently were no interviews and no offering of any background that these three people had. You did take nominations from the floor, but no one was prepared to move forward with that because it wasn't clear what had gone on before. Secondly, the RDA is going to be an important feature of this sort of new way to fund a TIF by lease rental property or bonding through lease rental so that it doesn't impact the amount of bonding that the county does. I want to note that the 1,500 acres that was just passed by the county council last month that is related to this and was proposed as necessary for the bonding authority and the moving forward of the GM battery plant was a complete fabrication. I stated that at the time. It's now clear that this underlies that fabrication because the bonding is going to be made without that land being used as collateral or any kind of improvements on it in order to finance that bond. What's going to be used to finance that bond is a leasing of Cleveland Road and several other roads that are property owned in this county and turned over to the RDA. So that's another issue coming up that I think has to be voted on. I don't know about by you, but at the St. Joe County Council. So that is an area I would like to be aware of. And you'd like to, again, be transparent, make corrections, explain to the public how you appointed these folks, whether you interviewed them, whether you complied with the open door policy. And getting back to the 1,500 acres, let's reemphasize that was not necessary to move forward with the TIF districts and the TIF rearrangements that underlies the bonding that is necessary to move forward with the battery project. And I'd like Mr. Shalio to speak to that at some point because he has made assertions that are false and are proving to be false, which we brought up time and time again in these meetings. Thank you.
Anyone else online wish to offer a comment? Seeing none, I think we're done. Do we have a motion to recess?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Recording stopped.